全てのブレーダーが胸に秘めている熱い心。ベイ魂が貴様にはない。
ベイ魂。
ベイを愛していない貴様、小さな世界で神様を気取っている貴様に負けるはずがないんだ。くらえ、これが俺の愛だ。
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I hate cold weather because my allergies start acting up like crazy and I become nerfed the same way you went from being a feared blader in Metal Fusion becoming a jobber in Metal Masters. But you know what else I hate? The fact that because I post a lot of Beyblade content, I'm always seeing Beyblade related videos suggested to me by YouTube, and they are always about the Metal Saga. So I felt it was time to lock in and push some agendas advocating for an era of Beyblade that deserves more respect. Yes, I am talking about the OG Beyblade series, also known as the Bakuten Shoot Beyblade Saga. The Blade Breakers, consisting of Tyson, Kai, Max, and Ray, was like the original Gang Gang Galaxy. These bladers were going crazy every battle. The OG Beyblade Saga really illustrated how serious Beyblade was. Bladers would be bleeding left and right like it was an episode out of the Cell games. A lot of people like to view the Metal Saga as the era where Beyblade was just off the walls insane, but let it be known that fights were that serious in the OG series. And there is one character I specifically want to talk about in today's video that is the very definition of crashing out in Beyblade. I'm talking about Kai Iwatari. Now, if you don't know who Kai is, do yourself a favor and educate yourself by watching the OG Beyblade series after finishing this video. There is an official Beyblade YouTube channel that has all the episodes in English dub. For the Japanese sub, I'll include some sites that have the series in the video description below. But back to the GOAT, Mr. Kai. If I could make a comparison to the Metal Saga, I'd say Kai is like a mix between Ryuga and Kyoya, an individual filled with pride that is willing to sacrifice anything in order to acquire the W. And I mean that seriously, because the fight I'm going to be talking about was the time when Beyblade was not a game. Kai versus Brooklyn was a fight where both characters are just geeked out of their minds and not a single person can stop them. Before I get into that, I need to talk about their round 1 fight that sets up this insanity. Boris, basically the doji of the series, comes back in the final season and forms the Bega League, which is the OG Beyblade version of the Dark Nebula or Hades Inc. The Bega League has a tournament to find bladers to form the Justice 5 team, and Kai infiltrates this tournament to set the whole thing down. And this is where he meets the man that would have him crashing out at the end of the series. Brooklyn is essentially the Mahito of Beyblade, an extremely gifted, goofy prodigy. And this first round of Kai versus Brooklyn was disgusting. Brooklyn uses Kai's own attacks against him and then immediately says it's flattery. The dude was a massive troll. Brooklyn spent the entire fight trolling Kai. Then when Brooklyn got bored, he proceeded to one-shot him and destroy his Bey. Had the broken pieces of Dronzer spreading across the floor like the Dragon Ball Z after a wish is made.
That's rough, buddy.
Afterwards, this man Kai is moving like he just witnessed all of his loved ones catch a Sukuna domain in Shibuya, constantly questioning what's the difference between him and Brooklyn. Why can't he win? And this question of what that special something is culminates in this final match between Brooklyn and Kai. Kai returns after his training with Dronzer MS as G Revolution's 5th member in the battle against Bega's Justice 5. You already know this fight is going to be crazy because G Revolution is already down 2-0. A tie means automatic defeat. The main antagonist coming out this early is already a bad sign, so the stakes are through the roof. Also, one aspect I love about the OG Beyblade series is how so many official matches have a unique stadium environment. In this fight, the environment reminds me of Crash Town from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. Now, for this fight, I'll be discussing it through the lens of the original Japanese sub, because while the dub is extremely more hype in terms of raw moments, I guess, I believe the dialogue is far superior in the sub in terms of conveying the storyline and messages of each fight, especially for the soundtrack as well in the sub. Just helps elevate the tone of these fights. And making sure the tone of the fight is correct is really important because Brooklyn versus Kai is a death battle where Kai is willing to put his life on the line to win, with Dronzer representing a phoenix, having Kai literally set his heart ablaze in order to match the bottomless pit of darkness that is Brooklyn. Kai and Brooklyn parallel each other as they are both individuals who suffer from loneliness in their own ways, but also at the same time participating in actions that are contradictory. Brooklyn portrays himself as someone with no motivation, plagued with boredom, but he has another side where he can be sadistic, a bottomless pit that desires to consume everything. Both characters are extremely greedy, but there is a difference in how it is executed. And while Kai gives off the classic loner persona, he does value his friends. He's an awkward guy, but he also has an unhealthy obsession to be the best, but this all stems from his love for Beyblade, no different than any other blader, to be fair. However, there was one crucial difference between Kai and Brooklyn. Brooklyn never understood himself, closed off in his own bubble. He never had a journey, unlike Kai, who has experienced rage, grief, and joy. Thus, talent with no desire will always lose to someone who wants it more. And just this entire fight between these two is just insane, because you just have Kai just really just understanding himself, going through all the motions. He's really entering his darkness, just taking it in, crashing out, and then realizing that he just needs to combine the two, the darkness and the light, to come together. And that's why this next moment is why Kai versus Brooklyn is one of my favorite fights in all of Beyblade. Some of my most beloved series include ReZero, Gurren Lagann, and Blue Lock. With all of these series having in common is the showcase of the indomitable human spirit, validating one's existence through an unbreakable will that answers the question of what is true strength. That is what makes Kai's speech to Brooklyn so powerful, resulting in all aspects of himself, the rage, hatred, joy, passion, and love uniting together to create one light that embodies Kai. Brooklyn was afraid to see what lies beyond his own world, while Kai embraced it, and that's why he won. So when Kai unleashes his final attack against Brooklyn, shouting, "Take this, this is my love," it's a beautiful moment because it perfectly concludes Kai's character while opening the doors for Brooklyn's life to truly begin, ending the ultimate get back in Beyblade history with the All Might victory pose. Just raw. You know that feat is crazy when Tyson is monologuing about how Kai is the greatest in the verse, further adding that nobody would be able to make a comeback like that, not even himself. Again, Kai really was like the Ryuga of the OG Beyblade saga. His name was respected in these streets. This is why after watching this fight in the sub and witnessing how much passion and love went into Kai's conclusion, I have to say that I enjoy the fight more than Ryuga versus Kyoya from a writing standpoint. I know some people might view that with annoyance, as I don't need to compare the two, but I don't really look at this statement as slander towards the Metal Fight Saga. I just want people to understand just how highly I rate the fight between Brooklyn and Kai quality wise. It also just hits extremely hard with the knowledge that there's a good chance the original plan with this fight's conclusion was to go through with Kai's death, because this entire fight is structured in a way that pushes the narrative that this is the end for Kai. Win or lose, Kai is going to sacrifice everything for his friends. I also love that the writers allowed the Deuteragonist to defeat the main antagonist of the season, because if you watch enough anime, you are 100% expecting Kai to lose here. The Deuteragonist loses to the main antagonist in order to hype up the strength of the final boss, so when the protagonist fights them, there's more weight behind it. Although with all of this setup, I felt that if Kai were to lose in his rematch battle against Brooklyn, it would defeat the whole purpose of having Kai go through all that training to master his hard metal Beyblade. On a more positive note, if you're someone who's stuck around to the end of the video, I appreciate you. Also, check the description for the Discord link where you can chat with me about anime related topics. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos of this style in the future. Again, I'll have the links for the dub and sub of the OG Beyblade series in the video description. And if you're someone that enjoys anime content that keeps it real, consider subscribing so when I hit 10K, you can brag about being a day one. I gotta get back in the kitchen to cook. Peace.